Student friends, in today's class, we are starting a new chapter, that is a array. Previously, we have discussed data types are classified into two types. One is a primitive, one is a derived or non-primitive. In primitive or primary data type, the basic data type include integer, character, float, double. And on the basis of this data type, the derived data type is made up of. One of the derived data type is array. Why we use array? Remember, if we want to store more than one value in a single variable, then the array will be taken. Again I am repeating, if we want to store more than one value in a single variable, then we have to take the array. When the array was not taken, if there is number of values to be stored, the number of variable is declared. Such as, suppose we want to store two integer, we have to take integer AB. Like this, if you want to store 10 values, 10 variable to be declared. But we need one variable will be declared that has the ability to store more than one value, then the array is taken. What the other things can be defined for the array or can be represented for array? Now array is a derived data type because without primary data type array cannot form integer, character, float by which the array can be created. As it depends upon the primary data type, array is a derived data type. Array stores the element in consecutive memory. Individual element never takes consecutive memory, but array element will take the consecutive memory, contiguous memory, and has the ability to store similar data item. In one integer array variable, integer values only store. In character array, character values store. In float array, float value can be stored. In double array, double values can store. Four things to remember. Array is derived data type. Why? Without basic data type, array cannot be created. Array has the ability to store the element in consecutive memory. It can hold similar data item, and one variable has the ability to store more than one value. Now you see, this is the memory locations. Like this, thousands of memory cells are formed in memory, that is intersection of rows and column, and in these cells the value stored in 1 and 0, what computer can understand. I want to clarify you, this type of cells are present in the memory, value will store in binary form in these cells, and each and every cell has a particular address. Because without knowing the memory, the element representation in the memory is difficult. Okay. Next comes to what are the types of array. Arrays are broadly classified into three types: single dimensional array or one dimensional, double dimensional array or two dimensional, multi-dimensional array. Most of the real life application can be solved either by single dimensional or by double dimensional. First comes to single dimensional array. Array that contain row or column. If you store the element in the form of this way or this way, in this way it represents what? That is your number of rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this way you can take as columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means elements will be represented either in the row form or in the column form, known as single dimensional array. Now you remember the first location of array is always 0 and the last location is subscript value -1. If there are 5 elements, first location is 0, last location is 5 minus 1, that is 4. If there is 100 element, first location is 0, last location is 99. How the array can be declared? Many ways the array can be declared. One of the simplest way is data type. Array variable name size means data type means integer, character, float, anything else. Array variable means it is an identifier just like x, y, z, anything else. Size means any numeric value is given that gives the dimension of the array, 10, 20, 30, how many number of element you want to store. Just like here it is represented 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like dot dot dot. The location is known as your index as the first, and each and every location has a particular address that is known as your base address. First address is known as your base address. Like this, every cell has a particular address. Here we are representing 1000 is the first address, 1002 as the second address. Why? Because if it is integer type, where it will be started, 2 byte incremented each location for the address. If it is character type, the address difference will be 1 1. If it is float type, the address difference will be 4 4. If that is double type, the address difference will be 8 8. So that from this we can know the array store the element in consecutive memory. Now you clarify all the definition part of the array. One variable, here one variable is score, has the ability to store more than one value. Yes. In consecutive memory, how it is to be identified? Due to this consecutive address representation. And one variable has the ability to store more than one value, and array is derived. Why? Without integer character float, array cannot be declared. Now you can represent the array in this one. In this way, if you represent the number of rows, if in this way we represent that the number of columns. Few people might be representing these are the rows, these are the column, but I want to simply verify and represent you these are the rows and these are the columns. How to declare a single dimensional array? As we discussed, data type, array name and array size. If data type is float, array name is mark of 5, means mark is the variable having the ability to store 5 integer float values. The first location is 0, last location is a subscript value -1, that is 4. If I want to declare character mark of 5 means 0 is the first location, last location is 5 -1, that is 4. And accordingly, any type of variable can be declared as integer, character, float, double, etc. You remember, you can access the element of an array by indices. Number of indexes as termed as indices. Means if you want to access the value, you have to take the help of indexes like 0 index, 1 index, 2 index and so on. Suppose you declare an array mark as above. Suppose the variable is mark. The first element is known as 0 and the second element is 1 and the last location is subscript value -1. If it is 5, the last location is 4. You have to remember, as I have told, 0 is the first index, not 1. In this example, mark 0 is the first element. If the size of the array is n, to access the last element, that is n-1 index, means if the n value is 10, last location is 9. If n value is 100, last location is 99. Again, how to initialize the array? There are the different ways. Suppose I declare int mark of 5, the 0 index is 19, 1 index is 10, 2 index is 8 and like this. Or we can declare int mark subscripted. We can define how it is represented. Subscript, if no subscript value is given, that is a dynamic array. Number of element we can store. That is first index is 0, second index is 10 and the last index is 9. 5 means fixed, subscripted empty means any number of element can be stored but initialized within the two curly brackets. Here it is fixed, here it is dynamic. We can change the dimension, we can increase the number of value, we can decrease the number of value. Here written, you can also initialize the array like this, or you can initialize the array in this way, but the size is not specified. However, the compiler knows its size is 5. If you declare 5, it is 5, or how many number of elements store, it automatically declare as the 5. Compiler can detect either you specify or you don't specify, only initialize the number of elements. So, first location is 0, second location is 1 and the last location is 4. Accordingly, memory is represented. If I want to run a program and write a program to store 5 elements in an array and then display, what I have to do? Int is the data type, value is the 5, means 5 values I want to store. Now, loop will continue 5 times because the subscript value is 5. 0 is less than 5, yes. Scanf through which we can input the value at the runtime. For integer, format string is %ld and ampersand is used as address operators to store the value. If no ampersand is given, as I previously told, the value cannot be stored. The first index is 0. Values of 0, first element you enter, store in values 0 as variable. I incremented 1, 1 is less than 5, second location is a value of 1, like this 5 times will continue and 5 values will be stored. As we discussed, one variable, more than one value, consecutive memory. If there is 50 element, here subscript will be changed and the loop condition will change as a 50. After inputting the value, if you want to display the value, how many times the loop will display? 5 times. 0 is less than 5? Yes. Value of 0. First location, which value is stored? That is 1. I incremented by 1. 1 is less than 5. Values of 1. 1 location store minus 3. I incremented 2. 2 is less than 5. Values of 2. That is 3. Means those 5 value you entered here, 1 minus 3, 3, 4, 0, that value will be displayed. Means one variable as a value store in a consecutive memory, hold similar data item, and it is a derived data type. Why? Because without primary data type, that is int, I cannot store the value in the consecutive memory location in the array. How we have to run it? You move to your online compiler, then you write the program here. Suppose I have taken int x of 5, run the program by online compiler. Int I is taken as the variable for I equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, then value will be scanf percentile d ampersand x of I. Then 5 values will be entered. Then if you want to display those values, take again another for loop. Then instead of a print scanf, you give printf. Then run it. Now which value will be entered? That value will be displayed. Run it. Now you see, there is, if it is a wrongly written any character, then it will display error. Now the value ask, suppose I enter 11, 22, 33, 44, 50, 44, 55, whatever the value I enter, that I get it. Again I want to run. Suppose I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many value I enter? That much value will be displayed. If in online compiler it is paused, again run it. 11. Suppose I enter 22, I enter 33, I enter 44, I enter 55. The result will be displayed accordingly. Now, one of the example by the single dimensional array is executed, and more problem can be solved by a single dimensional array. In the latter part we will be discussing, and in the next class with some other example we have to discuss the double dimensional array. In today's class, again I want to repeat, when the array element store in consecutive memory location and in the form of rows or column, that is known as your single dimensional array. The first index of array is 0 and the last location is a subscript value -1. The total number of elements the array can hold, that can be represented by its subscript value. One variable, more than one value, consecutive memory, similar data kinds. I think today's session is most essential to you and you understand. Having any doubts, please make the queries, comments. If you like this video, kindly like it and subscribe it. Make the comment or any suggestions to me so that I can take care the better, and I always try to give you the better thoughts, better representation, and more problem which is required for you in the better way what you can understand. In the next class, we will be discussing the double dimensional array with some few additional problems, and in the next two classes we are going to finish the double dimensional and multidimensional array. The previous pending problems to you that is given as assignment, we will be providing the solution after the end of the array, and accordingly we carry forward to the next. Thank you. See you in the next class.